Today we are going to do note set number 7, so flip to your table of contents page, and we are going to put these notes on to page 9. So page 9 in our unit 1, and this one is going to be titled Special Products of Binomials. Special products of binomials. Now, products is still dealing with multiplication, but there are a couple scenarios that we have to talk about dealing with some binomials, which remember, binomial are two terms. So we're still just going to be multiplying some polynomials. Once you get that written down, then I need you to flip to page 9 in your notebook. And you were given this sheet of paper online, or if you're in person with me, then I've already cut it in half for you. So cut this in half and tape it down. Now that we have that taped in, let's talk about the special products of binomials I was talking about. So when we think about this topic, there are 3 different cases that can come up. So there's one where it's addition, and then there's one with subtraction, and then there's one where there's one of both. It's a pattern that happens, so we're going to talk about those. The first one that I want to talk about is multiplying a plus b squared. Okay, so there's a couple things that we have to talk about. So remember, when we're multiplying, we learned the FOIL method and the box method from last time. I'm going to do the FOIL method on one, box method on the other, so that you can see both, just in case if you're still trying to pick which one you like best. Now, we have to talk about what this squared actually means, okay? Because we have to understand what that means before we can actually work these special products. So, let me ask you this. If you saw this right here, 5 squared, in your brain, you should be taking that squared and understanding that that means it's this number times itself that many times. So 5 squared is actually just 5 times 5, which we know is 25. This squared is attached to a number, and this squared is attached to a polynomial a plus b. But the squared still means the same thing. So that means it's this times itself that many times. So let me show you what I mean. For this first one, we have x plus 4 squared. This is the number that we're talking about, and we are multiplying it by itself twice. So here's what it looks like. We have x plus 4 times x plus 4. You have to understand and be able to go from here to here. All that squared means is that you are multiplying x plus 4 by itself. That's all it means. So don't let that get you confused or anything like that. Okay, so now this is the one where I'm going to do FOIL, so hopefully this will go by fast. I'm going to multiply that x into this one, so F stands for first. So x times x is x squared. Then I have O, which is outside, or outer terms, which is x times 4. So we'll do plus 4x. And then I've distributed that x in there, so now I've got to distribute the 4. So I'm going to draw those arrows underneath. So now we're on the letter I, so that's inside terms. 4 times x is 4x. And then L is last, and that's 4 times 4, which is 16. Now, remember, you need to always check to see if you can combine like terms and simplify. This one you can. So start with the x squared. That one doesn't have anything to combine to it, so I'm going to bring that down. And then if we look at our x's, these two middle terms right here can combine. So we have 4x plus 4x. So that's going to be 8x. And then that plus 16, I'm going to bring it down. Just like this. And here is our final answer. Okay, now for the second one, the first thing that we need to do is address this squared and actually kind of think about what it means. Remember that that squared just means it's x plus 8 times x plus 8. So we're going to go x plus 8 times x plus 8. And now I'm going to show you this one with the box method. So if you remember from last time, we have to think about what size box we're going to draw. And that depends on the number of terms in each set of parentheses. So this one has 2, and so does that one. So we're going to have a 2 by 2 box. So if you remember from last time, 2 by 2 boxes look like windows. So go ahead and draw your little 2 by 2 box. It's going to look like a window. And then we need to place our expressions on each side. This particular case, it doesn't matter which way you do them because they're both the same. But I always put the left one on the vertical side and then the second or the right one on the top. So there's the setup for the box method. And now we just need to do a little bit of multiplication and we'll be good to go. So this top left box right here, I'm going to cover this up. Top left box, we need to multiply x times x, which is x squared. Top right box is going to be x times 8, 8x. Bottom left box is going to be 8 times x again. So we have 8x. And then bottom right is 8 times 8, which is 64. And remember, get it out of the box. You do not want to leave it in there because I need to know that you can write it out correctly and simplify. So start with the highest exponent. And remember, the highest exponent is usually in the top left. So that x squared doesn't combine to anything. So we have x squared. And then I go to my x's, which there are some like terms there, and they're usually on a diagonal like that. So 8 and 8 are 16, so 16x, and then that 64 doesn't combine with anything, so I'm just going to bring it down. And there we go. There is your simplified expression for that one. Now let's take a look at the second case that we have, which is a minus b squared. We know the squared just means that we are multiplying whatever it is twice. And I'm going to show you FOIL method on this one and box method on this one because I'm wanting you to see the difference between the two. So first thing I want to do is rewrite this out the way that it's supposed to be with that squared. So this is the same as x minus 5 times x minus 5. So that squared just means you write it out twice and we're multiplying it. So now let's do the FOIL method. So f is the first term, so x times x, which is x squared. And then I've got x times negative 5, which is negative 5x. And then I've got to distribute this negative 5, and I'm going to draw those arrows underneath. So negative 5 times x is negative 5x. And then L is our last. And we have negative 5 times negative 5, which is positive 25. Now, remember, check, see if you have like terms. If you do, deal with them. If not, then you're done. We do have some like terms right here in the middle that we need to deal with. So this x squared I'm just going to bring down because it doesn't combine with anything. And then I'm going to combine like terms right here. So this is negative 5x minus 5x. So this is a negative minus something. So that's a bigger negative. So it's going to be minus 10x. And that 25 I'm just going to bring right down. And there you go. So this is the same as the stuff that we did last time. The only thing that we're talking about now is dealing with that squared and seeing what happens with them. Okay, let's go over here to this one. This one's going to be a little bit different because we have a number out there in front of x. So you'll see what I'm talking about in just a second. So let's deal with the squared. We have 5x minus 2 times 5x minus 2. So all I did was write those out twice, because that's what the squared means. So now let's talk about the size of the box that we need. This one has 2 terms, and so does that one. So it's going to be another 2 by 2 box. So it's going to be like a window. And then we need to take these expressions right here and put them on the vertical and the top. So I'm going to put the first one, 5x minus 2, and then I'm going to put that second one on the top. I know they're the same, but if you get in the habit of putting one in a specific spot, it'll help you in the long run. Now that we got our box set up, we just need to multiply some stuff. So, top left, I always start in top left. That's 5x times 5x. So that's going to be 25x squared. Then I need top right, which is 5x times negative 2. So that's going to be negative 10x. Now bottom left, I have negative 2 times 5x, which is going to be negative 10x again. And then bottom right, I'm looking at negative 2 times negative 2, which is positive 4. Okay, now let's take all of that information out of the box and write it out like it's supposed to be. Start with your highest exponent, the x squared. That one doesn't have anything to combine to it, so we're just going to bring it down. Now we go to the x's, which we do have a set of like terms. So that is negative 10x minus 10x. So that's a bigger negative, so it's going to be minus 20x. And that's going to be just plus 4 right there at the end. And there we go. And here's our third option that we have. Remember, these are just scenarios that you may see, and this is how you deal with them, the patterns that happen. This one doesn't have a squared, but they are the same exact numbers, except one is addition and one is subtraction. So something specific happens in this one, so just watch. I'm going to do FOIL and box method. So FOIL on this one, so F, first terms, that's x times x. So that's going to be x squared. And then O is x times negative 6. So that's going to be minus 6x. Then we have I, which is the inner terms. So that's 6 times x. So that one's positive 6x. And then L is last terms, and that's 6 times negative 6, which is minus 36. So then I'm going to simplify just like normal, and I've got x squared, no other x squared, so I'm just going to bring those straight down. Okay, so then I'm going to go to the x's. I've got negative 6x plus 6x. So if you notice, we have negative 6x plus 6x. These cancel each other out and go to 0. If you want to write plus 0x right here, you can, but you will not see it written on a test, on a worksheet, on anything, okay? So these cancel each other out, which leaves us with a minus 36. And there you go. So there's the pattern that happens with these. If these are the same, just opposite signs, that middle term is going to drop out. Now, let's check out this last one, and then we'll be done with this set of notes. So I don't have to worry about any squares or anything, so I'm going to do the box method with this. I'm going to draw a 2 by 2 box because we have 2 terms and 2 terms. So that looks like a window again. So there's my window. Oh, this corner's looking a little rough, but that's okay. So now I'm going to write out my expressions from up here where they go. I always put the first one on the vertical side, So that's going to be x plus 4, and then the x minus 4 on the top. The top left box, I'm going to cover this up again. Top left box is just x times x, which will give me x squared. Top right hand box will give negative 4x, because it's x times negative 4. Bottom left box is 4 times x, which is 4x. And then the bottom right, that's 4 times negative 4, which is negative 16. And now we need to take all that information out of the box and write it down. So starting with my highest exponent, I've got x squared. And then I've got some like terms right here. But when you look, this is 4x minus 4x. So these like terms right here cancel each other out. Remember, you can write plus 0x if you want to, but you will not see it written. So try to get in the habit of just not writing anything. Because if I don't see it, then I know it canceled each other out. And then we have that minus 16. And there we go. Those were the special products that I needed to show you. The first two, you just needed to know what to do with the squared and how it played out. The last one right here, super important. It's the same thing, just opposite signs. When that happens, that middle term drops out, so you won't see a middle term. And if you don't see it, that means it canceled each other out. So even though this was a new set of notes, it was over something that we have already done as far as multiplying, and I showed you both ways with FOIL and the box method. Remember, if it's not specified, you get to choose whichever one you want. So, good job today, guys. I've got some practice problems for you to work on, and I'll see you next time.